हरे कृष्ण। So welcome everyone for today's class. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तविंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we request all the devotees to open their videos and be present for the class. We'll start with the sloka recitation. पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गस्य सदसद्योनिजन्मसु उपद्रष्टा अनुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः। मां च यो अभिविचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् सुमतीत्येतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते। ममैवांसो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातन मनसष्ठानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्य वेदान्तकृत् वेदविद् एव चाहम् ब्रह्मभूतप्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन् यस्यास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम् मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु ममैवस्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are beginning a new chapter today, 15th chapter, Purushottam Yoga. So Sanatan Gopal Prabhu, you can read a translation. So this is the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is a quite famous chapter, generally recited by children also, and 12 and 15 chapters. And on the death of someone, this 15th chapter is recited. This is like custom, but it's not that it's meant for only uh, those who are leaving the body. But it's a very important chapter where Krishna will be explaining the whole process of our entanglement, our connection with Krishna, and then how we can get free from this world. What are the qualities required to get free? Hmm. And the different sections are divided in this. First, he will be discussing about the material world, hmm, how the material world with a metaphor. Using a metaphor, he will be describing a material world. This material world, what is this material world? And how one can get free from this material world and go to spiritual world. So this is a chapter which gives about the description of, I mean, little detail about the spiritual world. Other chapters you like last time, last 14th chapter you found at last. Hmm. Mai Chananya Yogena no, not that. The last one. Sagunan Samatietan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. माम च अविचारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते सगुणान समतीत्यतान ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. So that shloka says that how one can get out of this three modes. So how one can get out of these three modes? Hmm. By taking to devotional service. Abhivachari bhakti. Only to Krishna. One should not be worshipping other demigods or having motive in devotional service. No. Abhivichari bhakti. Without motivation, one should do bhakti, and without interruption, one should do bhakti. Then one can attain Lord Sri Krishna. One can go beyond the modes. This is one thing. Now, when he says Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, means one attains the Brahman stage. So, devotee who is doing devotional service, he attains the status of Brahman. And in the previous chapter, he also mentioned the Brahmano hi pratisthaham. I am the shelter of this Brahman. Means Brahman is not all in all. Brahman is coming from me. I am all in all. I am the source of everything. There is nothing superior to me, which he has spoken in previous chapter. So, mattah parataram na anyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. So there he mentions that there is nothing superior to me. And even this Brahman is also taking shelter of me. So devotee who does bhakti, he attains the status of Brahman. Now, what is that status of Brahman? Is there any something which is beyond Brahman? Though Krishna mentioned, I am the source of Brahman. Again, is there any something like he also mentions there is a para prakriti, avyakta prakriti means uh, in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna mentions that आ ब्रह्म भुवनालोका पुनरावर्तिनो अर्जुन मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन मामुपेत्य कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. So this thing Krishna is speaking in many places ki how the living entities, one who comes to me, he never returns back to this material world. He has spoken in 4th chapter also, 8th chapter also, and many other places also is spoken. And so the common spiritual term for spiritual world is Brahman. It is called Brahman. Means which anyone can use. Jnani can use, yogi can use, Brahman, Brahman, Brahman. But only devotees, because they reach to the highest realization of absolute truth, that is a supreme personality of Godhead. So therefore they only know about the Bhagwan aspect. And Krishna, he, though he may not be speaking so many times, that you he's saying you will come to me. you'll come to me. But whatever, where do you live, Krishna? Where do you live? Huh? What is that world? So indirect messages he is passing through in Bhagavad Gita in different chapters. You'll come back to me. And if you come back to me, you'll never return. Huh? But here in this chapter, Krishna will tell what is this is a spiritual world. Hmm? And what is Krishna's position, or how the living entity is situated and he is situated. And how the knowing Krishna, one can know everything. Hmm? Yasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatam bhavati iti. Hmm? So in this chapter only Krishna is going to tell how to know, how knowing Krishna is knowing everything. So what is that Krishna world? That Krishna world is not a Brahman world. It's a spiritual world where Krishna has his own abode, his own people, his own uh, projects, his own pastimes. Hmm? So all these things are there. And what are the characteristics of that world? That will also be explained. So, and how one can go there? So Krishna is making the analytical study here, little bit of material world and the spiritual world. So by going beyond the modes, one attains the Brahman state, status of Brahman. And how? By doing devotional service, which he spoke in previous chapter. Hmm. Now, what is this world? Again, because it's a Gyan section, so one has to. So in 13th chapter, Krishna spoke about Kshetra Kshetragya, Gyan Jnanayor, and Purusha Prakriti. So there he analytically spoke about that. In 14th chapter, he spoke about the gunas, the three gunas which bind living entities, and the material nature is made up of these three gunas. Now, in a more analytical way, he is again telling what is this material world. Again, let me tell you. And what is this process of freedom from this material world. So the more you can see that means Krishna is, um, you can say, drilling the matter inside, hmm, inside us. We're drilling the matter, or the knowledge. Yes. So in the first to six verses, Krishna will be explaining about material world to the spiritual world. One can go through detachment and surrender. Detachment and surrender is very important for a spiritual life. The basic point in spiritual life, or you can say the beginning of a spiritual life, is what? Detachment from material activities and attachment to Krishna. Yes, that is a basis. If that is not there, then how one can understand about the spiritual life? One has to make a plan to give up this material world and attach to Krishna. That is the meaning of sadhana bhakti. Yena kena prakarena mana Krishna nivesayet. Anyway, one has to become attached to Krishna by inspiration given by Shastra, instruction given by Guru, or whatever. One should make a attempt to attach oneself to Krishna and detach from material world. So detachment and surrender, one can go from material to spiritual world. Then he will explain 7 to 11 verse transmigration of living entities. That how living entities are quite suffering in this world. And yeah, and then who can and who cannot see. That's transmigration of the soul. Who can see and who cannot see. Then 12 to 15, appreciating Krishna's position as our maintainer in this world. Hmm. So Krishna, how he is maintaining us. Now you must see how this is all connecting. As we go through, you will understand those things. And then there are two kinds of living entities, Shara and Akshara, hmm, which so he explains about summary of Vedanta, Vedas and the Vedantas from 16 to 18 shlokas, and 19 to 20 he is explaining knowing Krishna means knowing everything. So this is the thing. Okay, so this is a connection between the previous chapter and this chapter, that last shloka he spoke, by bhakti one can go beyond the modes, one attains the Brahman state. Now by going to the Brahman state, but then what is this material world more about? Let me explain more about this material world and how one goes there, the spiritual world. In more description in this chapter is going to explain. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhamulam Adha Sakham Aswatham Prahurabhyayam Chandansi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Ved.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows the tree is the knower of the Vedas."
Hmm. Urdhvamula Adha Sakham. All of us have heard these verses many times, and we know the meaning of these verses also. I expect like that people devotees must be knowing. So now, as you see here, Urdhvamulam, when it is possible for any tree to have root upwards, it is only possible when the tree is standing beside a river and its reflection is falling on the river or the water of a river. That time only. It means uh, this tree is a reflection tree. It's not a real tree. It's not a real tree. And yesterday, I think, or not, in another class, I was speaking. When Lord Brahma created this world, there are five kind of avidya or ignorance which he created. To become fit in this world to enjoy, we require five kind of ignorance. Hmm. So ignorance is the beginning of this world, actually. And to make us situate in this world, we need this ignorance. So what are those things? Hmm? So those are uh, tamaha. Tamaha means forgetting one's own identity as a soul. Tamaha, ignorance. Then comes tamaha. Then moha. Moha means to identify oneself with this body. Then mahamoha. Mahamoha means to become attached to the things of this world. Okay. Moha also means to become attached to body and then relatives of the body. All those things. Moha. Mahamoha means to have attachment for the things of this world. We want to possess more. Swamitva Jamana. Mahamoha. I want to be possessor. Then comes Tamishra. hmm, Tamishra. And Andha Tamishra. So Tamishra means again the fear of death. Mm, mm. And I think Tamishra means to become angry, and Andha Tamishra means the fear of death. To become angry, when one becomes angry, when one's effort is frustrated, he has a lot of desire, lot of expectation, and then somehow it gets frustrated. So then what happens? He becomes angry, and then fear of death. So these are artificial ignorance created and they are put on the living entity. These are called five avidya. Hmm. And this five avidya also mentioned in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which begins with this avidya, asmita, raga, dvesh, raga, dvesh, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesh, and avinivesh. So these five ignorance. What are those? Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh. So avidya means this only. I forget that I am not, I'm the soul. I forget myself. This is called avidya. Then comes Asmita, Asmi, Aham Asmi. So what is Asmi? Aham, Sarira Asmi. Aham Sariram Asmi. So this Sariram is myself. To Asmita. To identify, so first forget your identity as a soul. This is first ignorance. Then identify yourself as a body. That is second ignorance. Then raga, then develop attachment for this world, that is raga, and then dvesha, then become angry, what you are not able to enjoy, and then abhinivesh, become fearful of death. When these five layers are on us, then only we can live here in this world. We are fit member for this world, actually. So after creating these five ignorance, Brahmaji felt moroseness. So he felt that I have done sinful activity. The sins I have created. And then he meditated on the Lord and purified himself. So these are the five aspects of ignorance, or five ignorance. Okay. Then after creating them, then he created Vidya. That is Sanat Kumar. Sanat Sanatan Sanandan Sanat Kumar. The second person in the creation means after creating this ignorance, he created Sanat Kumar. Hmm. The four Kumaras basically. So four Kumaras hmm, they represent Sankhya, Yoga, eh, and Tapasya. And I think one more. Sankhya, Yoga, Tapasya, and detachment, Tyag. So they represent these four. So these are the four aspects of Vidya. But see, even though one has Sankhya, Yoga, Tapasya, and detachment, Tyaga, but these all four Vidya cannot become successful without Bhakti. We know that any yoga, it requires Bhakti to become successful, correct? So that's why he later created Narad Muni, who is a avatar of Bhakti. The four Kumaras, they represent this four thing. And Narad Muni represents the Bhakti avatar. So only through bhakti you can know the Lord, but even other yogas can help us to know the Lord if we mix bhakti in those things. If you mix bhakti in those yoga, then you can know the Lord. Otherwise, other yoga process cannot give perfection. So now, so we are learning here avidya. Hmm. So avidya was created by Brahmaji so that we live here in this world. So, but these are artificial. We should understand. These are बनावटी. ये सब बनावटी है. हाँ? ये सब बनावटी है. बट ये बनावटी चीज कितना सही है लगता है कि this artificially made things appear to be so real that we have totally become forgetful of our own identity and totally become submerged in the illusory identity and illusory world. So this is the thing. So this is a cause of our bondage. So that's why even though ignorance has been created, Krishna separately gives us the literature, Vedic literature, so that even though ignorance is there, we should always try to hear from Guru, self-realized souls, or Guru or Vaishnavas, and always this knowledge should be ringing in our intelligence that I am not this body, I am the soul. I have to go out of this world. This is a world of ignorance. Hmm. Though this world has been made so lucrative, so attractive, so appealing, but this world is a banauti world. It's a world of reflection. It's a world of entanglement. And it's a world which we have to give up. We have to plan to give up. Anyway, we are giving up this world. We will be kicked out one day. But we have to plan to give up. Then it will be successful. Otherwise, we are anyway giving up. We'll be kicked out one day. So now, here the things begin. So Urdhvamula Adha Sakha. So the banyan tree, Aswatha, is called banyan tree. Its root is upward, Urdhvamulam, Adha Sakham. Its branches are downwards. Hmm. So branches are what, roots are what we'll discuss in future, right now only. Okay, basically, Urdhva, Moolam is Brahma Loka, and Sakham are like branches are like the different planetary systems like demigod lokas, Kinnar lokas, Bhu, Bhuvar, Swaha. These three world we say. So these are the Sakha branches. And then Abhyayam, Aswatham, Prahur, Abhyayam. Now this is it is mentioned that this tree, imperishable banyan tree. Just see, imperishable banyan tree means what? It's eternal. Eternal. you cannot destroy. You cannot destroy. You have to get out of from here. You cannot destroy this. This will be there. The world will be there. We have to get out. So aswatham prahur avyayam. Okay. Chandamsi yasya parnani. Now this tree itself has solution built also inside. Sometimes you may see some movies where the problem is there, but the solution is also there. One has to simply become inquisitive and intelligent to find out where is the solution in this world. This world is a place of entanglement. This world is a place of suffering. But there is solution also in this world available. It's not that it's only a hopeless place, but there is solution also available. What is that? Chandanti yasya paranani. Hmm. So there are the Vedas. Vedas means book of knowledge, or Veda means knowledge. And one who goes through learning of Vedas, he can understand this tree. He can. So Krishna does not mention here that he is going to get out of the tree, but later slokas is mentioned that one who knows the tree, one who knows me, and one who knows the Vedas, all three are equal. So one who knows this tree knows the Vedas. One who does not know this tree does not know the Vedas. So he mentions Yastam Vedasa Vedavid. So the Vedas, Chandamsi, Yasya Paranani. Paranani means it's the leaves. So the leaves of the tree are the Vedic hymns which are recited. Okay? But one has to be intelligent. One has to be intelligent in what? The Vedas are the solution for getting out of this tree, but one should not become attracted by the beauty of these leaves or the attraction of these leaves, which are paranani. This is a caution here. Hmm? Don't become attracted by the attraction of the paranani, but use this Veda to get out of this tree. Yes, it is very, very important thing. It happens in our material world also. Like you find in 11th canto, hmm, there is a Dattatreya, and who is explaining to Yayati, Yadu, King Yadu, I have 24 gurus. So one of the guru is this body, he says. So this body, he says, that it teaches me so many things. It teaches me that how I have to be regulated in my life. If I don't become regulated, then it will give me trouble. Huh? So I cannot do anything extreme. So body teaches that. And body is a guru, he says. But then if this body is guru, then I should serve a guru? No. He says you should not serve this guru. He says you should only utilize this body to achieve your goal. Even though body is understood to be a guru, like all the 24 gurus, it does not mean you start going and serving to Python. Python is also one of the guru. Then there is a uh, other gurus like sun, then there is a moon, there is a wind, there is the ocean, so many gurus. So we are not going to serve these gurus, but we are going to learn lessons from that. In the similar with the Vedas here, Vedas has many sections, and Veda has the ultimate knowledge. So Veda is meant for like a mall. When we go inside the mall, we find out our own item and come out. It does not mean that we start just making arrangement there in the mall only. Chalo, lao, bring my bed here, bring my things here. So from tomorrow onwards, I will live in the mall only. No, mall things can be used for our purpose. So that is what it is mentioned here. Chandante yasya paranani. One should not become attached to paranani, the Vedic hymns. Rather, understand the essence of Vedic hymns and get out from here. Okay. So, after discussion of the importance of Bhakti Yoga, one may question what about the Vedas? So, it is explained in this chapter that the purpose of the Vedic study is to understand Krishna. Therefore, one who is in Krishna consciousness already knows the Vedas. So, Krishna says three things here. Knower of Krishna, knower of Vedas, and knower of banyan tree. All are equal. So one who knows Krishna, he knows Vedas, and he knows the banyan tree also. The entanglement of this material world is compared here to be to a banyan tree. So entanglement of material world, or basically you can say the material world is compared here as a banyan tree. For one who has engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to this banyan tree. For whom there is no end, this banyan tree can never end. For whom? One who is engaged in fruitive activity means one who is always thinking, I'm making some plans. Oh, I will do this thing tomorrow. I will make this thing tomorrow, and then next year I will have this plan, that plan. So who is making constant plan in this world for his success, for his growth? For him, there is no end. This banyan tree will will never perish. Means he will take another birth. Keep on taking birth after birth. Hmm. So fruitive activities. So Vedas, they promote fruitive activities also. So one who becomes captured by this Vedic hymns, Paranani, where many fruitive activities are encouraged. You want this, take this. You want this, take this, take this, take this. And thus he becomes uh, eternal prisoner of this world. Okay. So he wanders from one branch to another. The tree of this material world has no end. And for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. Hmm. Tree may look beautiful, good. It's a nice tree. It's in my garden. It's grown by me. So tree can be understood like that in many ways. Material world we are creating. So we'll understand this material tree. It has come from the reflection. Hmm. It's coming from the reflection of a spiritual tree on the basis of our desire. So why this tree is existing? Because we desire to enjoy. That's why this material world is it. In the similar way, we also make our own tree. So that tree, we remain attached to that tree. Tree means we grow our own attachments in different ways. That is again, we are creating another tree. Like we are in one branch, then another branch comes, then another branch comes. So these are the things. So that's why it's mentioned when attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation. The Vedic hymns meant for elevating oneself are called the leaves of this tree. This tree roots grow upward because they begin from where Brahma is located. Satyalok. So tree roots are coming, that means the moolam. Banyan tree has many roots. They are also coming from branches. Hmm? And they're also coming from the means the whole banyan tree, any tree, it has the root. Any tree, it has the root, and the root is the down means downmost part. Bottommost, you can say bottommost part. So that the bottom is a root. So now, but this tree is upside down, so then the root goes up. So the up means Brahmaloka, and down where the crown of the tree is there, crown. The top of the tree is a down, that is patal lok. Okay, patal. If one can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, then one can get out of it. Means one has to understand this world, how one is getting entangled in this world, how one can get free. Then he can get out. Otherwise, not. One has to understand, not the way scientists want to understand this world. They want to understand this world in on to because their motive is to enjoy. They will never come out. Howsoever they may do advancement or research, they will never come out. The process of extrication should be understood. In the previous chapter, it has been explained there are many processes by which to get out of the material entanglement. Up to 13th chapter, we have seen devotional service to Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment. What is the basic principle? Detachment from material activity and attachment to transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking attachment to material world is discussed in the beginning of this chapter. So in the beginning of this chapter, what is mentioned? Process of attachment to material, breaking the attachment to material world. Hmm. So the roots, how the material world starts. So material world starts from Pradhan, then Prakriti, then Mahatattva. Many times people say Mahatattva directly. Okay, so we let us take Mahatattva. So from Mahatattva, total material substance, Mahatattva, from there material world starts. So that Mahatattva, Prabhupada says, means basically from topmost planet of the universe, that is Satyalok. Hmm. What are the leaves of this tree? They are the Vedic hymns. Vedic hymns are the leaves. What are the fruits of this tree? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So, what are the fruits? So, by uh, being in this tree, one can enjoy fruits, one can enjoy leaves. So, these are the fruits and leaves. And Brahmaloka is also there, Patalok is there. Now, there is no ready experience in this world of the tree situated with this branch. So, that time we mentioned, okay, that is basically a spiritual world which has become reflected in the water. Hmm. So desire is the cause of the things being situated in this reflected material light. That's why we hear Isita Pragya in second chapter. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogataan. Prajahati yada kaman. Means one who becomes desireless. This person can only attain the Brahman platform. By becoming desireless, one becomes Brahman. He gives up all your desires. So, desires are the cause for our entanglement in this material world. Material desires, desire to enjoy. When we become desireless means to have only and only Krishna conscious desires, then this world is finished. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study, and then he can cut off his relationship with it. Hmm. So, this tree being the reflection of real tree is an exact replica. Everything is there in the spiritual world. The impersonalists take Brahman to be the root of material tree. Prabhupada says that if you say that root of the material tree Brahman, okay, then where is the reflection going? Means, okay, that is the beginning, you may say. But then if the tree is having root, it also has the branches, it also has a trunk and fruits and everything. So it should reflect 180 degree. 180 degree, there should be the similar means real object in spiritual world. So that is a spiritual world. So Brahman is not the final thing because Brahman is a resting place of this tree where from where it's coming. Okay, then it should reflect into its real object. So that is spiritual world. Prabhupada is mentioning here. Okay. Hmm. So this material reflection of the real tree has to be cut off. When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off the attachment to material world. So Vedas, knowing Vedas means how to cut off attachment to the material world, not to develop attachment to the material world. So uh, behind anything we consider the essence or the purpose should be always be known. Whatever we do or whatever we know, what is the purpose? We should always keep these things in our mind. With this purpose, like we sit in vehicle. So what is the purpose? We have to go to certain destination. That is the purpose. So we read Vedas. What is the purpose? To cut off attachment to this material world. Uh, You find we have discussed this thing in introduction of Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavad Gita is meant for those people who want to get out of this material world. So Bhagavad Gita is especially that part of Vedas which is directly instigating us, inspiring us to get out of this world and giving us the solution how to get out. So one who is attracted by the ritualistic formulas of the Vedas is attracted by the beautiful green leaves of the tree. Yamimam puspitam vacham. That is there. Yamimam puspitam vacham. So then this comes in second chapter. Puspitam vacham. The Vedas, they have very flowery languages. Many shlokas are very, very attractive. Oh, so nice shloka. Sometimes some can see hearing of some brahmanas chanting, like any place, like um, there is some gathering of sadhus, brahmanas. So it appeals, quite appealing and quite soothing. Such a nice Urdha Mula Mada Sakha. So like shouting in a very proper meter, tone. So it attracts a lot. The people get attracted by recitation of the Vedic mantras. But what is the meaning of those? Sometimes, many times, people don't understand the meaning, and those who understand, some understand, they don't apply. And after application, everything one has to know Krishna, and by knowing Krishna, one has to get out. So the Vedas are not meant for simply recitation and enjoying the tune and meter, like the Brahmanas do. They are meant, the purpose of Veda is disclosed by personality of Godhead is to cut down this reflected tree and attain the real tree of a spiritual world. That is the purpose of Vedas. Hmm. So Acharya say that Aswatha means what? The Aswatha tree is the best tree because it lets one fulfill one's goal of Artha, Dharma, Kama, Moksha. Huh? But according to the viewpoint of Bhakti, Aswaha means which will not last till tomorrow. A means not, Swaha means tomorrow. So Aswatha means the tree will not, the tree which is bound to perish. For non-devotee, however, it appears to be indestructible, Avyayam. Okay? So the Avyayam word is used is for non-devotees who are fruity workers. For devotees, it is Aswatha means it will finish, this tree will finish. Okay. So what are the mantras? Huh? Vayavyam Sevatam Alabhet Bhumikam. So these are the Tatriya Samhita. Desiring wealth and power, one should sacrifice a white horse in northwest. So in northwest direction, one should, if somebody wants wealth and power, one should sacrifice a white horse. Uh, Andram Ekadasaka Palam Nirvapet Prajakama. Desiring offspring, one should offer 11 oblation in the east. So one has to offer 11 oblation in the east direction. That is mentioned. So these are what? These are karma kandas, sections. Chandamsi. So if somebody wants wealth, somebody wants children. So then these things are mentioned here. So, but those who become attached to these things, they cannot get liberation from this world. They will become the secure prisoner in this world. They will be secure. They can protect themselves by so many means, but they will be secure prisoner. Next life also they'll be born. So these things one should get out. In the 15th chapter, Krishna explained the detachment means cutting samsara. The Jiva is the Lord's Amsa and Dev, and he is the Supreme Lord, and he is the Supreme Lord's endowed with the wonderful qualities. Okay, done. So this is a thing. We'll go ahead. अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसिता तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवाला अधश्च मूल्यानि अनुसन्तितानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. Yes.
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
Hmm. So it's mentioned that branches are the upper and lower planetary systems. Green leaves are the Vedic hymns. The twigs are the sense objects like sound, form, touch. These are twigs. And tips of the branches are the senses like eyes, ears, nose. Hmm. So like that. So twigs and tips. These are two things added. Huh. So these now this tree has its root going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of the human society. So basically, how this tree is now becoming stronger and stronger. Now, is it this tree metaphor which is given similar for everyone? one has to take it in individual way. For me, there is a different world. For other person, it's a different world. Means everyone has different banyan tree. In one sense, one can think how much my tree has grown. So by our increasing our attachment, basically, uh, we are growing that our tree of material world deeper and deeper. Hmm. But anyway, again, the solution is from any place we can detach. It is also possible. It's mentioned ahead is going to come. So we can detach by the taking the help of knowledge and bhakti. So knowledge will help us to get detached, and bhakti will help us to become attached to Krishna. Okay. So here it's mentioned the more one is doing fruitive activities, then he is becoming more and more rooted. His roots are going very deep, deep, because the desires are becoming stronger. And his tree is becoming stronger. The description of the banyan tree is further explained. Its branches spread in all directions. Lower parts are the variegated manifestation of living entities. Hmm. And these are situated on the lower parts of the branches, whereas on the upper parts, the higher form of living entities are there. So basically, we understand there are the three loka. Hmm. So bhu, bhuvar, swaha. And then above swaha, there is a janalok, maharlok, satyalok. Okay. And the bhu, bhuvar, swaha. And below the bhu, you will find all the pata, all the uh, asuras loka and then patal lok. Okay. So Prabhupada is mentioning that between you, the lower part is all these things, animal, horses, cows, dogs, all other things, and the higher part are demigod, gandharvas. These are the branches. A tree is nourished by water, so this tree is nourished by the three modes of nature. Yes. So how this tree is nourished? The tree is very strong. How the tree can be strong? By nourishing it with the three modes of nature. So person acting in three modes, he is making his tree stronger and stronger, becoming very much rooted, attached. Sometimes we find that a tract of land is barren and for the want of sufficient water. Sometimes a tract is very green. Similarly, where particular mode of material nature are proportionately greater in quantity, the different species of life are manifested accordingly. Yes, like we find mm, means the different species are there. Even in humans, we have 4 lakh species. Humans are there. So different kind of humans are born in different places according to the modes which are prominent there. Okay. The twigs are considered to be sense object. By development of different modes of nature, we develop senses, and by the senses, we enjoy different varieties of the sense objects. The tips of the branches are the senses. Okay. So twigs are the sense object, and the tips of the branches, tips, are called senses. The subsidiary roots are the attachments and aversions. Just you see that also the subsidiary roots are attachments and aversion. So there is a main root. What is that? That is the main root is the Brahmaloka, and subsidiary roots which also come from the branches. They are the attachment and aversions, which are the byproduct of different varieties of sufferings and sense enjoyment. Hmm. So then person may become attached or averse to something. So they are also the roots. So there are the two kinds of root. One root is showing Brahmaloka, the higher planetary system. Other roots are showing attachments and aversions. The tendency towards piety and impiety are considered to develop from these secondary roots. Okay. So one become attached. How? By gaining sense enjoyment. When somebody gets sense enjoyment, he becomes attached. When one gets problem in life, then he becomes detached. Or he dvesha, raga dvesha. So raga comes when one enjoys, and dvesha comes when one suffers. So that's why it's mentioned. So this attachment and aversions are developed when one suffers and enjoy, and therefore the tendencies of piety and impiety is also considered to develop from these secondary roots. The real root is from the Brahmaloka, and other roots are in the human planetary systems. Okay, so these are in human planetary system, other roots. After one enjoys the result of virtuous activity in the upper planetary system, he comes down to the earth and renews his karma. So this basically Prabhupada mentions this the roots the subsidiary roots are starting in the human planetary systems, hmm, and which are causing attachment and aversion for different activities. And then one performs the activities, one does karma, he gets he then he goes to upper planetary system, enjoys, and he goes to lower planetary system, again he suffers. All these things happen. These things are mentioned. Hmm. Just see what is mentioned here. Moreover, the branches of the tree, material bodies, are spread down and up. Hmm? Okay. So bodies means branches of a tree means different demigod body, kinnaras bodies, human bodies, animal bodies. So these are different lokas accordingly. So then branches of trees are mentioned here directly the bodies. Basically, we are saying the different lokas, and they are saying the bodies okay, same. They spread downward by the jivas committing sinful activities, being born in a bodies of men and animals. They spread upwards by jiva performance of pious activities, being born as devatas and gandharvas. By actions of these three gunas, like sprinkling water, the branches, the bodies take a gross form. The tree has a shoots or buds, pravala, in the form of the sense object, vishaya, such as the sound and touch. The sense objects, such as the sounds, are considered to be the shoots, and because of being joined to the tips of the branches, they are which are the senses, hmm, and uh, hmm, because of being the abode of the enjoyment. So this is mentioned the branches have tips which are called senses, and which have the shoots, the sense objects, which are the source of enjoyment. So there are shoots are there and their tips are there. See, basically, like any branch you see, there's a branch, and then you find from one branch another branch comes. Yes. So how does it comes? One is a stronger branch, then other is a weaker, little weaker branch, and there some leaves also get attached. So it begins. Any branch begins with a wants to develop somewhere. So it begins with a tip, twig. So first comes twig. Hmm? This twig. So this twig, and then it started expanding into different shoots. Hmm. So these twigs are the you can say the senses, and the suits are the sense object. Basically, in human body, one develops senses and sense objects to enjoy. So, so then branches are the human bodies in one sense. Understand they are material bodies, and in the material bodies we get senses, sense objects to enjoy. They are called tips and shoots, or tips and the twigs. Okay, then which are source of enjoyment called raga. The word raga also means color. Just as the new leaves gives color and beauty to the tree, the sense object gives enjoyment to the sense and the bodies. Hmm. The tree has secondary roots spreading down and up. The secondary roots are impression caused by attachment and repulsion born from enjoyment of various sense objects. So the secondary roots are impressions, samskaras, samskar. In the mind, the samskar, or in the chitta, you can say chitta or mind, there are samskar. What is the samskar? Of attachment and repulsion from enjoyment of various sense objects. The impressions are said to be the roots because they are cause of man's tendency to act according to dharma and adharma. So these impressions are the roots. So now we talk about the samskaras. What are the samskaras? Tendencies, proclivities, proclivities, tendencies. So what are these? These tendencies are subsidiary roots. Yes, subsidiary roots, secondary roots, or subsidiary roots, whatever you may say. These are samskaras. Hmm? Okay, so how they are developed? When one enjoys or suffers, so then he develops certain kind of tendencies in himself. The main root cause of the universe is four-headed Brahma, and the secondary roots which causes action and particular bodies. So the tendencies or samskara causes us to act in a certain way and develop next body. Okay. So the main root was the beginning of material world, which is a four-headed Brahma, Brahmaloka, and the subsidiary roots are the further cause of next bodies. Impressions are the cause of the next bodies, next actions, like that. Okay. These are compared to the tangled roots emanating from the banyan tree. They are tangled. You find those who have gone to banyan tree, those who are secondary roots, they are tangled. Yes, they tangling is there. What type of roots are these? They give rise to the bondage of karma. With depletion of the enjoyment of result of previous karma and fall of jiva from heavenly planet, they give rise to the karma on the earthly planet, karma anubandhani. Hmm. So these roots, they give rise to the bondage of karma. Hmm. Which one? This secondary roots. Because they have impression in mind, and jiva does that activity because he has impression, and so he becomes caught up. So he is bound in the karma. So these secondary roots are binding him, basically. Hmm. Now here the solution will come. न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिन च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अस्वथमेन सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसिता पुराणी. Yes. And where are devotees? Yes, Prabhu, read.
So, Prabhu, I was reading on mute. The real form of this tree, the, I hear the echo, bro. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with the determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek the place, must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and their surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Hmm. Okay. So this real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is, because it's an illusory tree. It's an illusory. You cannot find it out from where it has begun. Now Krishna is saying that it has begun from Mahatattva, from Brahmalok, and then it is continuing with the subsidiary roots. It is binding living entity more and more, and he's doing more and more karma because he's enjoying with the tips and twigs of branches, and he's changing branches life after life, going up and down, and he's developing more and more roots of attachments or repulsion. So this is what Krishna has explained till now. Now he's saying this real form of the tree cannot be perceived in this world. What is that? Na rupamasyeha tathopalabhyate. You cannot find the rupam of this tree. Hmm. Generally, um, if one can find out the problem, then he can deal with the problem. But if the problem is not able to see, you cannot see the problem. First thing is to, if you know the problem, you may solve it with the determination, with understanding that how much it is problem for you, and therefore you take out the determination and then try to solve. If you're not able to find out the problem, then that is another problem. Then somebody else has to tell, this is your problem. This is your problem. Hmm. So, uh, yes. So when somebody is in illusion, basically we have the senses. So we have senses. So we have four defects as a human. So all species, especially humans, all species will leave it. Humans, they have four defect. Okay. So four defect means what is that? Tendency to become illusion. So when illusion means what? See, there is a illusion, there is a cheating tendency, imperfect senses, and there is a committing mistakes. Hmm? So illusion and committing mistakes. If somebody does 2 plus 2, 4, that is right. But if he writes 5, 2 plus 2, 5. So what do you call? He has committed mistake. 2 plus 2, 5. He has committed mistake. But when he writes 2 plus 2, 5, and then he thinks that he has done the right thing. He has done the right thing. He has not written the wrong. No, he has done the right thing. That is illusion. That's why it is said one should not edit one's own book. One should not edit one's own book. One should give to someone else because person is in illusion that whatever I've written is correct only. So somebody else should do the proof writing and other things. Eh, Editing. This happens. Whatever we do, we are in illusion. We think I have done the right thing. Oh, I never did the mistake. So one thing is to do the mistake. That is called mistake. We have done and we know it. I have done the mistake. Okay. Second thing is to do the mistake and think that I have done the right thing. That is called illusion. And third thing is to persist that no, whatever is there is correct. Whatever there is correct. That is cheating. Whatever there is correct. Like Srila Prabhupada said, like scientists, till date they are saying life has come from matter. Life has come from matter. They cannot prove it. They cannot prove it. But they will still be believing life has come from matter. And our the smallest unit of life is genes. They cannot prove it. So this is called persisting. This is called cheating. So one is called committing mistake. Other is called being in illusion. And then other is called cheating. Hmm? And all these are coming because of imperfect senses. So we have imperfect senses, so we commit mistakes, and then we sometimes we go into illusion, and then we persist, cheating tendency. Hmm. So that is why this world is very difficult to understand because our senses are imperfect and we commit mistakes, we are in illusion, and we persist. Hmm. We try to, or we can say like argue. We argue. Oh no, it's correct. It's correct. How is it wrong? How is it wrong? It's correct. Okay. So this world rupamasya tathopalabhyate. You cannot find out the actual tree here. Now it is clearly stated here the real form of the banyan tree cannot be understood in this material since the roots is upward, the extension of the tree is at other end. When entangled with the material expansion of the tree, one cannot see how far the tree extends, nor can one see the beginning of this tree. Yet one has to find out the cause. I am the son of my father is the son of such and such person. By searching in this way, one comes to Brahma, who is generated from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Finally, in this way, one reaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the end of research work. One has to search out the origin of the tree, this tree, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through association of the person who are in knowledge. Hmm. Then, by understanding, one becomes gradually detached from this false reflection of the reality, and by knowledge, one can cut off the connection, actually become situated in the reality. Prabhupada says you cannot find out, but one has to learn it from a knowledgeable person, from devotees, from where this tree has begun, how that tree has begun. That's why uh, scientists are doing so many mistakes. They're not able to find out the beginning of this creation, speculating Big Bang theory. hmm, And there are so many other theories have also come. hmm, How the one is Big Bang, then there's a Miller's experiment, how the life has come, and there's some other experiments are also there. Yeah. So the whole understanding, the scientist problem is with the scientist is they do not accept the spiritual existence. they only accept matter as all in all. They want to prove everything from the knowledge they have and the senses they have. They don't want to, they don't think or they don't understand that something what you know is itself is imperfect because your senses are imperfect. So then how can you drive out the perfect knowledge? So like scientists may know that to some way some blast happened, anything happened, and then like universe came. But you only know that much. Some blast happened. What is behind the blast? Who did the blast? You don't know about all those things. So just you want to speculate according to how much you can see, how much you can uh, go through experiments. That much only knowledge you have, and in that knowledge you want to put everything. Therefore, one devotee said that these people want to put God in test tube, but God can never come in their test tubes. Hmm? So there is no possibility for scientists to understand Lord Vishnu or Supreme Lord because they want to put God in their test tubes and then they want to do experiments. Hmm. This is a fallacy of the science. They don't have the highest scope or universal scope or spiritual scope, but they still want to uh, proudly say that we have found out the truth. We have found out the truth. Now you accept this truth. So they don't have spiritual scope. Then how can they find out the truth? Not possible. Parabhavastavad bodhajata. Everyone is born in this world ignorant. Therefore, one has to go to school or one has to go to guru. Hmm. Tad vijnanartham sa guru eva abhigachet. Abhigachet. One must go to guru. Why? Because one is born in ignorance. One has to go to guru and learn. Not that one has to go to school and do experiment and find out where is the moon, where is the stars, where is the sun, and then start trying to go to the moon and sun without knowing uh, what is the goal of life, without knowing who am I. So without knowing all these things, people are just doing time pass and wasting a lot of money and time. That's why it's mentioned here that beginning of the tree one has to find out through one's discrimination as well as going to a devotee or a guru and hearing from him. The word asanga is very important in this connection because attachment for the sense object and lording it over material nature is very strong. Therefore, one must learn detachment by discussion of the spiritual science based on authoritative scriptures. One must hear from the persons who are actually in knowledge. Asanga. Asanga means one has to detach. Asanga. Asangoyam Purusha. So one has to become detached from sense enjoyment and lording over mentality. So that is only possible when one must hear from person who are actually in knowledge. As a result of such discussion in the association of devotees, one comes to the Supreme Lord. Then the first thing one must do is surrender. The description of that place where having gone, one never returns to this false reflected tree is given here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original root from whom everything has emanated. To gain favor of Personality of Godhead, one has to only surrender. This is the result of performing devotional service by hearing and chanting. So by hearing and chanting, we are trying to increase our surrender. And he is the cause of extension of material world. Aham sarvasya prabhava. Okay. So two things, detachment and surrender. One is to asanga, sastrena dridhena chitva. So in as you see here, these two verses which are mentioning, na rupamasya tathopalabhyate, na cha anta, na cha adi. You cannot find the first the rupam, how it looks, and you cannot find the beginning and end. Then Prabhupada says you have to find it out, even though he said not you cannot find out. You have to find out from a guru. And then where it is some pratishtha, where it is resting, this whole tree is resting where? So it's coming from Krishna. Hmm? Well, one should understand. It's resting from Brahma Jyoti, or you can say Brahma Loka, whatever. Brahma Jyoti, Brahma. Huh? It's resting there. Ultimately, it's resting on Krishna. And it is starting is Krishna. Adi. Adi is from Krishna. And Anta Also, it will again dissolve into Krishna. Aswathamena subirudhamulam asangasastena dridhena chitva asangasastrena. So, with the weapon of detachment, one has to cut down this tree. Dridhena chitva means with determination, one has to do that. It's not because to cut attachment, it is not possible with low esteem. Hmm? One has to have a high esteem, or high esteem in the sense high courage, will that I have to cut it, cut it, cut it. So, hmm, conviction of knowledge, conviction of our connection with Krishna. So that connection, this conviction has to be there. Dridhena chitva. Then he can cut down. Hmm. Sometimes it happens. See, you find the process of spiritual life. Sometimes we say it's a balance, but more likely it is seen that spiritual life is more towards detachment, more towards detachment. Though it also balances, saying that we have to be balanced, but it's more towards detachment because ultimately we have to die and we have to prepare. And when we die, we don't know. And before death, we should prepare for spiritual world. And how to go to spiritual world? One should detach. And we how many lives we have been attached? Millions of life, trillions of life we have been attached. It means our project is very difficult. We have to attach to Krishna. We have to cut ourselves from this world. It means it's a long process. So therefore, more likely spiritual life is of detachment. Prabhupada mentions also about detachment from material world and attachment to spiritual world. Then he says, ki tatah parit. So this is a surrender. The first part is detachment, asanga sastina dridhena chitva. And then second part is surrender. Tatah padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata nivartanti bhuya. Prapadde, surrender means tameva chadyam purusham prapadde. That purusha, from where this tree has come out, you go and surrender to that purusha. Finish. That is the solution. Once you cut your attachment from this tree, go and surrender to that purusha from where this tree has come out. This is a solution. The word asanga here means detachment or complete renunciation. Having cut the tree down with the axe, sastrena, of complete detachment, separating it from oneself, one should then search parimargitavyam for the object tat padam brahman, the great treasure existing at the root. What type of thing is that? One should look for that object which, having attained yasmin gata, one does not return. So Krishna mentions, if you attain me, you cannot return. He then explains the method of searching. I worship Prapadde, that original person from whom the long standing action of samsara pravritti has spread. Hmm? So this whole tree has spread from a person, Krishna. So one has to surrender to him. Hmm. One should search by the process of bhakti that is mentioned here. Not speculation. One should, yeah. निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा आध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामा द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसङ्गे गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत्.
Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with the material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom, that eternal kingdom.
So these are the things one has to get rid of. So when Krishna says previous sloka asanga sastena dridena chitva, so what one has to cut? These elements one has to, so some elements are there which one has to cut. And one has to, the Adhyatma Nitya, one has to also learn these things. Okay, so let us see what are these. Nirmana Moha Jita Sanga Dosa. So here it's mentioned, yes. What type of people attain the goal having surrendered to the Lord? Previous sloka, Tasmin Prapadde, Nivartanti Bhuyaha. Surrender to that person from where you will never come back. So that person you surrender. Okay, now what type of people attain such goal? of having surrender to the Lord. So who go to the spiritual world, who surrender to Him. So then it is mentioned. Now, they should be without pride. So who can surrender actually? Surrender first begins with this. One should be without pride. Nirmana. Hmm. So how does pride develop? It is generated from respectful treatment. When so many people respect us, we become puffed up. Oh, I'm educated. Oh, I am BTech from IIT. Oh, I am. Hmm. So many degrees. As many degrees we have, as much pride develops. वो होता है, ऐसा नहीं कि होता नहीं है, होता ही है. Hmm. सबके प्राइवेट प्राइड्स हैं. Hmm. सबके रहते हैं. Hmm. आसान नहीं है. हाँ, तो निर्माण, pride, too much respect. Oh, you are from this America. You have done your study. Oh, you have so many likes, YouTube likes. You have so many Facebook lovers, fans. So, pride. Nowadays, people increase their pride without thinking also. आज की दुनिया नेम फेम की दुनिया है. पहले भी थी, और आज तो उसके लिए ऑथराइजेशन हो गया है. सो निर्माण. So, so nirman, one should be free from pride, which is generated from the respectful treatment. Hmm. And actually, how does this respectful treatment creates a pride? When one is disrespected, then then it is seen. How does he behave? When he is disrespected, the pride is really seen. Hmm. Now, they should be free of absorption in what is called false, nirmoha. So I mentioned that moha, mahamoha. Moha means attachment to this body, attachment to our own people. So moha, so moha, attachment to the body. तो निर्माण मोहा, निर्माण, मान को छोड़ो, मोह को छोड़ो. ओके, मोह मीन्स attachment to the body. तो so one should be free of absorption in the body. Okay. Then they should be free of affection for wife and others. Jit sanga dosa. So we have sanga dosha. Hmm. So okay, we have wife, we have children, we have home. What we should be doing? Hmm. So affection. So everyone has affection to uh, attachment to one's someone, some friend or some parents. Attachment is there. So jit sanga dosa. One has to overcome that attachment. Hmm. Then they should daily consider the nature of their own Atma and Paramatma. Adhyatma Nitya means one should be learning about one's own spiritual status, about one's own spiritual progress. Atma, Atma and Paramatma. This is regular hearing should be there. So this is a cultivation. Three things one has to give up. Fourth one is one has to cultivate. And then Adhyatma, they should be free from the material desires. It is mentioned. Adhyatma Nitya. So, Nirmana Moha Jita Sanga Dosa, Adhyatma Nitya, Vinivritta Kama. Vinivritta Kama means one should be free from material desires. Prajati, Prajahati Yada Kaman. Desirelessness means again free from the Kama. Basically, try to serve Krishna or desire to serve Krishna. Not to free from one's own personal desires. Adhyatmanitta, Vinivritta Kama, Dvande Vimukta. One should be tolerant or free of the disturbances. So this we saw in previous chapter also. One who can cross the modes, so then Krishna mentions, is a udasinvat. He's not affected by happiness, distress. So he tolerates, free from disturbances. So adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandair vimukta. He's free from dvanda. Dvanda is there, heat, cold, but he is not disturbed. Which are the causes of the dualities of happiness and distress? They should be knowledgeable of the process of the surrender. Gachant amudha. Gachanti amudha. He goes amudha. He's not a mudha. Mudha means foolish. So here mentioned they should be knowledgeable of the process of surrender. They should be knowing the process of surrender, that is bhakti. They should be knowledgeable. Okay. Now Prabhupada mentions. Okay, I will take the question at the end of this shloka. Let me finish. The surrendering process is described here very nicely. The first qualification is that one should not be deluded by pride, because the conditioned soul is puffed up, thinking himself the lord of material nature. It is very difficult for him to surrender to the Lord. One should know by the cultivation of real knowledge that he is not the Lord of material nature. The Supreme Lord is the Lord. When one is free from delusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. For one who is always expecting some honor in the material world, it is not possible to surrender to the Supreme Person. The pride is due to illusion, for although one comes here and stays for a brief time, then goes away, and he has foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. Prabhupada was saying in some other place that United Nations, they have made this United Nation is made so that all should understanding that okay, we all have to unite. Then Prabhupada says we are already united. We have a single Father Krishna. We are already united. Then why are you creating United Nation? Actually, it's a useless, because you say this is my America, this is your Australia, this is your India, Russia, and then you start fighting among each other. So he says, where is the question of fight when you consider the one Father? When you consider one Father, where is the question of fight? So he says this whole world belongs to Krishna and it's for everyone. Everyone can utilize the property in a proper way. There is no question of telling Columbus discovered America or we are going to moon to discover moon. What is the moon? So already it's there. What you can discover? It's God's property. So this pride is due to illusion. When we discover something, then we become proud. Oh, this is now I have discovered. And then one wants such recognition in many activities. So he develops the foolish notion that he's the lord of the world. He can do anything, and he's really the cause of the world, or he really done something. He thus makes all the thing complicated, and he is always in trouble. So such person cannot surrender, and this is a reason in modern time people take lot of time to surrender, or they don't surrender because they want to increase their material status very much. In previous times there was not much education available, means there was no formal education. There was informal education of culture, character, and for selective people, Vedic education were also given. Yes, for higher varnas. But now everyone is having formal education, too much puffed off. Though person does not have even a single good quality, but he's too much puffed up because he is from great college. He thus makes all the things complicated. He's always in trouble. The whole world moves under the impression people are considering the land, this earth, to belong to human society, and they've divided land under the false impression that they are proprietors. कितना पैसा खर्च कर रहे हैं ये लोग? ये कुछ कुछ पागल लोग आज भी हैं, जो कि देश के प्राइम मिनिस्टर बने हुए हैं अलग अलग देशों में. पागलों की कमी नहीं है. And these foolish mad people, they are leading the country, and all they speaking nonsense only, means the false impression. Nobody is thinking from this perspective how long we are going to be here. But everybody is thinking, whatever time I'll be here, I will do good for my country. But good means one has to do the good according to the eternal perspective, not according to one's own plans. So here mentioned they are fighting. So many fights are going on nowadays in among countries. Always there, a cold war is always there, and hot war is sometimes happening, but it's happening now also. One has to get out of this false notion that human society is the proprietor of the world. When one is free from such false notion, he becomes free from false association caused by familial, social, and natural affections. First, Prabhupada says, get free from pride, then surrender to the Lord. Hmm. Then he says, one should also get free from the false notion of proprietor. Hmm. Nirmama, nirman moha. Moha means this false impression. Hmm? That I am the proprietor. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosa. Then Prabhupada is saying one should be also free from false association caused by familial, social, and natural affection, national affection. देश भारत माता की जय वंदे मातरम. मुक्त हो जाओ नहीं तो यहीं पे रहना पड़ेगा. These faulty associations bind one to the material world. After this stage, one has to develop spiritual knowledge. Okay, so after getting free from निर्माण मोह जित संग दोषा, ये खत्म हो गया तब स्पिरिचुअल नॉलेज चालू होगा. पहले डिटैचमेंट. व्हाट इज दैट? असंग शस्त्रेण दृढ़ेन चित्वा. हम्म, ततः पदम तत्परिमार्गितव्यम यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः. तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये. प्रपद्ये, तो प्रपद्ये लेटर. Understanding about surrender, how to surrender, understand about surrender, one is to develop knowledge. So this mentioned. So basically, we can understand कि first become free from the negative things, and then simultaneously one can also develop spiritual. But this is also very, very important, which is mentioned. So unless one is free from what is prohibited, he cannot become healthy. He cannot, his medicines also will not work. So he has to prohibit the things which he should not take. He has to prohibit. He should not take those things. Then he can eat medicine and improve himself. So the faulty association, one give up everything and then develop spiritual knowledge. One has to cultivate knowledge of what actually is his own and what actually are not his own. And when one has this understanding of things as they are, he becomes free from dual conception of happiness, distress, pleasure, and pain. And he becomes full in knowledge. And then it is possible for him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just see, the surrender process is not easy. It is such a long thing. One has to get free from the wrong things. Then one has to cultivate spiritual knowledge. One has to become tolerant to the duality of this world. And then one can surrender. Yes, what is the question?
Roji, I just wanted to know where you were reading from, like that. You said na that the pride comes from respect.
Yes,
Was it from someone's commentary or?
yes, this is commentary, which is generated from respectful treatment.
Okay. This is Prabhuji. Whose commentary is this?
This is a Baldev Vidyabhushan commentary.
Thank
Baldev
you.
Vidyabhushan commentary. So, yeah, this is quite easy to understand also. Pride comes because one is respected a lot.
Yeah,
Then,
actually, Prabhuji, I was just thinking that we give so much respect to so many devotees also. This is for, I think, material people, materialistic people, na? Not in spiritual, uh, who
one
are.
has to guard against these things. These are the principles.
Hmm.
Pride is not like pride will say, I will not go to devotees. Pride can come to anyone. One has to guard against these things. One has to understand that, see, the whole main problem is this. Hmm. So even before the pride also, first we have ignorance that I am this body. I am this body, and then because of this body has got this much education, this much success, and not identifying our success and allocate or achievements to Krishna or Guru, then it will create pride because it is not handed over to the right person, Krishna. So then it will create pride.
Yeah, because Srila Prabhupada's purport, Prabhuji, it is said that pride is due to illusion, what you are
Ah,
saying right now.
yes. And
So,
here, yes, correct. So illusion, like sometimes what happens, you may carry Tulsi Maharani. and people offer obeisances. So sometimes you may think people are offering obeisances to me only.
Hmm.
They're not offering to you. Us, they are offering to Tulsi Maharani. So, so in the similar way, when we do something glorious, so why we do glorious? Because we have talent, we have something, but ultimately it is because it is given. Where I was so glorious and talented 10 years back, where I was, or where I was in this world before 50 or 60 years back. I was not there only in this world. I was might be in different body. So when we consider our whole history, or not whole history, even a little part of our history, the whole truth will come out. Where I will be after 20 years, whether my hands will work or legs will work, nothing. So our achievements are like a glowworm. Hmm. Glowworm, you see, sometimes they are just showing their light, and then after certain period, means generally they come in the rainy season in the night, and after the rainy season they are gone. They don't, you cannot see them. So it's like that. So people come and go, they do something, they come and go, they do something. This is the truth of the world. So we have to identify with eternal I, that is called ब्रह्म संपत्ति विशोकम। ब्रह्म संपत्ति, हमारी जो संपत्ति है वो ब्रह्म, वो भगवान की संपत्ति है। तो पहले भगवान के साथ आइडेंटिफाई करो, फिर उनकी संपत्ति के साथ। भगवान की बहुत बड़ी संपत्ति है। ये संसार की भी संपत्ति भगवान की ही है, लेकिन हम उसको शरीर, अपने को शरीर मान के और इस संपत्ति को भोगना चाहते हैं। हमें अपने को शरीर नहीं मानना है, अपने को भगवान का दास मानना है और उनकी संपत्ति समझ के इसको आदर करके सेवा में लगाना है। So that is called Vishokam. Then one can become free from Shoka, Moha, Bhaya. How? Brahma Sampatyam, Brahma Sampati. ये पूरा ब्रह्म संपत्ति मतलब भगवान की संपत्ति समझना है। तो दैट इज द थिंग। न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम। ओके, प्रिय गौरांगी देवदासी माता, यू कैन रीड।
That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world.
This also, Prabhupada has spoken many times in his lectures and explained in his commentaries. Natad bhasayate suryo. Uh, this shloka also is called, this is giving knowledge, means a window towards the spiritual world. Window, you can see what is there in spiritual world. Hmm. There is no Suraj, there is no sun, there is no moon, and there is no fire, no electricity. Now, if you say like that, what people will say? Now, Krishna does not mention that my abode is illuminated by itself. So then scientists will think, Are, who will go to the spiritual world? There's whole darkness. The spiritual world is a dark place. No light, no moon. What is a I there's no use of now Edison ने bulb खोजा. Now there is no use of Edison. Somebody, Michael Faraday or whatever, they discovered some electricity, or and somebody discovered electron. So now these all scientists are useless in spiritual world. Why to go to such a spiritual world? It's a dark place. Oh, foolish scientist! It's not a dark place. It's illumined by the Lord Himself. It's not illumined by your tube lights or your atoms or your molecules. No, this is illumined by the Prabha of the Lord is coming from his body. So Lord's body is so illumined or so sparkling, so that the whole spiritual world is lighted. The spiritual world, the abode of the Supreme Lord, is known as Krishna Lok Golok Vrindavan, is described here. In the spiritual sky, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity, because all the planets are self-luminous. We have only one planet. In this universe, the sun, which is a self-luminous. But all the planets in the spiritual sky are self-luminous. Just see, all are self-luminous in the spiritual world. And here only sun is there, which is having light. Otherwise, all are just taking light. सब भिखारी लोग हैं, सब सन से लाइट ले रहे हैं. The shining effulgence of all the planets called Vaikunthas constitutes the shining sky known as the Brahma Jyoti. Hmm. As long as the living entity is in the dark material world, he is in conditional life. But as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false, perverted tree of the material world, he becomes liberated. Then there is no chance of coming back here. In his conditioned life, the living entity considers himself to the Lord of material world, but in the liberated state, he enters in the spiritual world and becomes associate of the Lord. Actually, the people, you can just whatever all the enjoyments when they're collected in the world, or whatever imagination one can have in this world of topmost enjoyment, or one can get, one can grab whatever, just multiply that with the millions, trillions, quadrillions times, then that becomes a Brahman Sukh, Brahma Sukh. And then again multiplied with million, trillions, quadrillions, whatever, then becomes the Bhakti Ananda Sukh. Hmm. So that is right now so it's a right thing. It's spoken in scriptures, but we cannot approach right now immediately. We have to first have patience, sobriety, and then with faith practice bhakti, and have great hope that I will attain one day. हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन. The one should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to the eternal world and extricate himself from the false reflection of reality. One who is too much attached to the material world, it is very difficult to cut that attachment. But if he takes to Krishna consciousness, there is a chance of gradually becoming detached. One has to associate himself with the devotees who are in Krishna consciousness. One should search out a society dedicated to Krishna consciousness and learn how to discharge devotional service. In this way, he can cut off his attachment to the material world. One cannot become detached from the attraction of material world simply by dressing himself in saffron cloth. He must become attached to the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, one should take it very seriously that devotional service as described in the 12th chapter is the only way to get out of the false representation of the real tree. In the 14th chapter, contamination of all kinds of process, the contamination of all kinds of process by material nature is described. Only the devotional service is described as purely transcendental. Yes, in 14th chapter we saw na last mein. What is the method to go beyond the modes? Only devotional service there, Krishna says. Yes. He does not speaks about other process, yoga and other things. He mentions basically Abhivicharine Bhakti. So when you call Abhivicharine Bhakti, where is the question of yoga and jnana and karma? There is no Abhivicharine karma or bhakti or yoga. So he just removes everything. So Krishna mentions if one wants to get out of this world, only bhakti is the thing. And Prabhupada mentions here one should not simply be proud that one is a renounced person in saffron, but one should take it very seriously. One should become attached to devotional service of the Lord. Hmm. Very serious that devotional service is the only way to get out of this world. Actually, one has to, bhakti is a process, but bhakti is also choice. It's a process and also choice. Means we are practicing chanting holy name, so that is a process. But are we becoming attached to bhakti? That is your choice. Bhakti is not simply a process only. It is our personal choice to become attached to Krishna. Hmm. So bhakti is a process by which we will become attached. But by simply by bhakti we will not become attached. By our choice we will become attached. Because choices which we are making, hmm, it is a choice of surrender. It is a choice of dedication to Krishna. Hmm. So that way, that's what Prabhupada mentioned. Simply by having a process, you cannot become successful. You have to have a seriousness in bhakti. Mm. Mm. The word Paramam Mama are very important here. So you find in ISKCON, these things are very, very uh, strongly focused. Means these things. You find in other places nowadays. Okay, we don't speak so many things of the name of the people, but you see, ISKCON is a society where Prabhupada mentions one is to find out a society. He mentions one is to find out a devotees and then society and then practice bhakti and get out of it. So ISKCON is a society where you find that this stress is given very much. One is to become sincere, one is to become serious. And we may not talk too much of Raganuga Bhakti, eh, or developing immediately prema for Krishna. But we may talk too much about seriousness. So, serious for what? Then, serious for taking bhakti seriously. Then, bhakti means what? So, bhakti means, is it a Raganuga Bhakti? No, for a sadhana bhakti. Means hearing and chanting. Then, what one has to hear? One has to hear about Radha Krishna, Raganuga Bhakti, or what one has to hear? Hmm? Yes, one has to hear first the beginning knowledge, that is soul, Atma, Paramatma, material world, Prakriti. One has to hear a lot. Hmm. Then one has to also hear about its Sambandha Jnana, connection with Krishna, or our connection with Guru. Hmm. And then our illusion, our moha. One has to hear a lot about all these things. Because immediately we cannot develop attachment for Krishna. It's not possible immediately. It will take some time. So first one is to cut off one's attachment. One is to hear about his spiritual connection with Krishna. And then when this hearing is going on, and we are advancing, eh, then we come to Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and we read also different sections of Bhagavatam. We go canto by canto. Then we come to 10th canto. Then also we read there. But still, simply by reading, cannot develop attachment. After reading again, we have to hear the same thing. I am not this body, I am a soul, I am not this body. I have to go to Krishna. This is a ISKCON. Hmm? And when you go to other organization, some Babajis, they will directly tell that I will make you develop love for Krishna. What about his attachment? उसको चाय तक नहीं छूटता है उसका. So चाय तक नहीं छूटता है. There is no question of much sincerity or other thing. Or they may talk too much hard austerity also they may talk about. Too much hard austerity. So that is also not possible. Or they may talk about too much sadhana. They will talk about too much sadhana. That is also not possible. You cannot do sadhana like Haridas type. Somebody may say you should wake up at 2:30, 2 o'clock. And it is not possible. It is only possible one who has regulated his life first. First, teach him how to regulate. Then, after regulation, teach him how to serve Lord. Then, teach him slowly, by seeing his advancement, he should develop this habit of waking up more early. So that is so slowly one has to teach. Not that simply give big lectures and not able to follow anything and then still call Babaji, big Babaji. Hmm. So this is not possible. So Prabhupada is a acharya not only in ISKCON, but he's acharya for this age. Such nicely he has taught these things. One has to gradually come to that stage of surrendering to Krishna. Other Babajis, they don't have parampara. परंपरा ही नहीं है, ना उनके आगे है ना कोई पीछे है, खुद ही आए. So, and if you ask them which sampradaya they are, so that is also confusion. And which books they read, which books they recommend, where is the praman for their things, that also unknown. But still people are hearing in great number because people are foolish. People don't want to read Bhagavad Gita properly. They want to read they want to hear big lectures. Ultimately, after hearing all lectures, what one has to do, one has to serve the Lord with sincerity. One has to always be conscious. Let me develop attachment for Krishna. In his each activities, in his eating, in his working, in his talking, in his behaving, he has to bring Krishna. huh? Bring Krishna. Again, not Krishna like Gopi Krishna. Not like a Gopi Leela wala Krishna. That very high thing. That will not come immediately. That is later part. First part is Sambandha Gyan. I am a Krishna servant. I have to serve Krishna. I have forgotten Krishna. Let me develop Sanath Jivatvam. I am a Anath now. I have no father. Let me find out who is my father. My Krishna is my father, Krishna is my mother. So in this way, one has to develop attachment for him. Right now, we cannot develop that attachment of Raganuga. That is very far. That is the imitation right now. That we should not worry about right now. We should worry about for this thing. And then one has to serve also in this way. One has to take up some service, and then sincerely, seriously, one should do the service. Then one's heart will become attached to Krishna slowly. Like we serve our family, then we become attached to our family members. Yes. Why we become attached? Because we have served them. In the similar, when we serve the institution, when we serve devotees, we become attached to them. Hmm. And this attachment helps us to develop detachment from material world because we become attached to devotees. So simply, big lecture hearing will not solve our issues. One has to find a proper institute. One has to find a proper seva, connection, and sambandha gyan, and continuously hear those things. Hmm. And then mark one's progress, how I'm going ahead, and like that. And the day will come surely, because that is mentioned in the scriptures. Prabhupada many times said, by gradually one will develop attachment for Krishna. होता है, लेकिन ये करना पड़ेगा. तो भक्ति इज अ प्रोसेस एंड इट्स अ चॉइस आल्सो. ममैवांसो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
See, this is a Katha Upanishad also mentions same kind of sloka. Na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nema vidyuto bhanti, kutoyam agnihi, tam eva bhantam anubhati sarvam, tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. The sun does not shine there, nor does the moon, nor stars. So, na tatra suryo bhati, na chandra tarakam, nor does the lightning shines. Okay? Nema vidyuto bhanti, kuto yam agnihi. How then fire can be there? So fire is not there, है. ठीक है, फायर नहीं है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है, किसी को करंट नहीं लगेगा और किसी को सर्दी नहीं होगा. आज सो दोज आर इन कोल्ड प्लेसेस, दे हैव टू टेक एवरी मॉर्निंग, दे हैव टू टेक फायर से वो गर्मी लेना पड़ता है. Those who are in Pune, they may not realize, but in North India, those who come there, very tough trouble, hard time right now. बहुत ठंडी है North. So when he signs all these signs, all of these signs, tam eva bhantam anubhati sarvam, through his light. So who signs? Lord. When Lord signs all these signs, and through his light all things sign. Just see. Tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. The Lord is only making everything sign. That form cannot be lit by sun, but rather that form which the sun cannot reveal illuminates the sun and all other luminaries. I, the husband of Lakshmi, the form of knowledge which reveals itself, am to be known as a Padam. I am attained by those who surrender. Okay. So now here, this is sloka. Mame vanso jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. So this is a very profound sloka. This is all the slokas in these chapters are so important. Connecting our connection with the spiritual world and very profound tattva. Now here, Prabhupada uses this sloka many times. For what purpose? To just bang on the Mayavadis, or you can say to break the teeth of Mayavadis. He says, Mame Vanso Jeev Loke. So we are Sanatana, means Krishna is saying we are all the Amsa of Krishna, And Sanatana Amsa means right now I am an Amsa of Krishna and I am separately existing other than Krishna. Krishna is separate and I am separate. So Sanatana, I will be one Amsa only of Krishna. It is not going, we are not going to merge into Krishna. Tomorrow we are not going to become Krishna. We will remain Amsa only. That is what Prabhupada says many times. When drop of a ocean, like this Mayavadi says, when a drop of a ocean, it merges into ocean, it becomes ocean. So, but why Krishna is saying Mama Amsa Sanatana? हमेशा के लिए मेरा अंश ही रहेगा वो. A parrot going into a green tree, it will remain parrot only. It will not become a tree. So basically, therefore, this is the thing. We will always remain Amsa. Now, Manasasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani. But till the time we are situated in this Prakriti Sthani, we have to karshati, we have to struggle for our existence. So, we are struggling for existence. Why? Because of this. Our senses and mind, because they are not controlled. And we learned in previous chapter, when we understand, when we go beyond the modes, then there is no struggle. You can remain happy in this world also, when you go beyond the modes. But till the time we are under the modes, mind, senses, all are there with us, and we are also identifying with the body, then there will be struggle for existence. That will happen. वो उससे कोई बच नहीं सकता. So struggle for existence will always be there until one goes beyond the modes. In this verse, the identity of the living being is clearly given. The living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of Supreme Lord eternally. It is not that he assumes individuality in the conditional life and in liberated state he becomes one with the Supreme Lord. Yes, this is the thing. The many Mayavadis, they discuss so many things, telling that we become one. घटा पास पटाक पास बोलते हैं. जैसे what they say, there is a pot. In the pot there is a sky. Yes, sky is there. So when the pot is broken, this sky merges into the outside sky. So they say घटा पास पटा पास. ओके. सो जो बाहर का आकाश है उसमें ये छोटा आकाश मर्ज हो गया. अब वो आकाश, छोटा आकाश बड़ा आकाश बन गया. लाइक दिस, like that one Mayavadi was saying. So then Prabhupada quoted this. When Krishna has said like that, he's saying, Mame Vamsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Sanatana. I am already Amsa of Krishna for Sanatan. Amsa means Amsa. Okay. So Amsa means I am separated right now, and tomorrow also I will be Amsa only. I will not never become God. I will always remain Amsa. Like Lord Vishnu is a Vishnu. He is also Swamsa and we are Bibhina Amsa. So he is also, so Vishnu will never become Krishna, or we will never become Krishna. Vishnu is Vishnu. Vishnu has identity and he is a Vishnu, Lord. Even though it's a Swamsa, means Krishna is separate from Vishnu. Yes, though Krishna can take any form, but Krishna is separate from Vishnu. And he's a Vishnu Tattva only, but it's separate. So it's a Sanatana. So our division is Sanatana. He is eternally fragmented. It is clearly said Sanatana. According to the Vedic version, the Supreme Lord manifests and expands himself in innumerable expansions, of which the primary expansions are called Vishnu Tattva and secondary are called living entities. Means these are called Swamsa, Swaamsa, and they are Bibhinamsa. Means different separated Amsa. In other words, the Vishnu Tattva is a personal expansion and the living entities are separated expansions. By his personal expansion, he is manifested in various forms like Lord Ram, Narsimha, Vishnu Murti, and all. So these are all God. These are all God, which Narsimha, Vishnu, they are all personal expansion. But still, all these forms are existing and Krishna is also existing. Okay? And we are separated expansion. The living entities are eternally servitors. So we always remain servitor. Even all these incarnations are also servant of Krishna, but they are God for all of us. So the personal expansion of the Lord, the individual identities of the Godhead are always present. Similarly, the separated expansion of the living entities have their identities. So like the personal expansion have their identity, we also have our identity. Okay. As fragmental part and parcel of the Lord, the living entities also have fragmental portion of his qualities, of which independence is one. Okay? So because we are son of Lord, so we also carry some of his qualities. So what is one quality is that? Independence. So Lord is independent, he is a Swarat, so we also have an independence quality. Every living entity has its personal individuality and a minute form of freedom or independence. By misuse of that independence, one becomes a conditioned soul. And by proper use of independence, one is always liberated. Hmm. That's why choice. Choice is very important thing. We have chosen something, and that's why we are there. The choice. Somebody can say that. Um, so nothing is forced upon us. It is forced after we made a choice. Some choice we have made. That's why it is forced upon us. Because we all have a independence. We cannot say, oh, he has got more facility, I have got less facility. No, we have chosen something in our life previously or right now. That's why we have been given that thing. Everyone has equal choice. We are all Sanatana, living entities of the Lord. We are sons of the Lord, but we have chosen something. And that's why our choice is up and down, or freedom is up and down. Somebody is born in an animal species, somebody is born in a human intelligent species. So he has chosen something. Everyone has a choice, independence. Nobody can say, I was not given much independence. That's why I'm like that. No, you did not make the right choice when it was given to you. And so now you're conditioned. So in either case, he is qualitatively eternal. And as the Supreme Lord, is in his liberated state, he is freed from material condition and he is under the engagement of transcendental service of the Lord. Okay, done. So yes, the living entity, not only human being and cat and the cats and dogs, but even the greater controller of the material world, Brahma, Shiva, and even the Vishnu, all are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. They are all eternal, not temporary manifestation. Okay, the word karshati, struggling or grappling hard, is very significant. The conditioned soul is bound up as though shackled by the iron chains. He is bound up by the false ego, and the mind is the chief agent, hmm, which is driving him in the material existence. When mind is in the mode of goodness, his activities are good. When mind is in passion, his activities are troublesome. And when mind is in ignorance, he travels in the lower species of life. So, what is this body? Prabhupada says that this body is like a chariot. Okay, so chariot, okay, like somebody wants to have Rolls Royce car. Okay, that was previous one. अभी क्या है कार में सबसे अच्छा, which is the costliest model in car? Anyone? पता है आपको किसी को? Which is कॉस्टलीस्ट मॉडल कौन सा है कार का?
प्रभु जी रॉल्स रॉयस ही है.
The Rolls Royce is still one of the most luxurious car.
So okay, it is in new version now, correct?
Yes, Prabhu ji.
Yes.
Okay, in the new version, so Rolls Royce car. ठीक है. So now Prabhupada says that Rolls Royce car. So somebody wants to go in Rolls Royce car and say, see, I have Rolls Royce car. I am so rich. So Krishna says, okay, you want to go in Rolls Royce? Take this body. So body is that car, and intelligence is the driver, and mind is also like, or you can say mind is the driver. Mind and intelligence is the driver. Subtle body. Okay. Senses are the chakka, tires, and then the mind is the driver. So Krishna says, take this body, mind, and senses and enjoy. Which now, okay, this is you want. Okay, what do you want? I want Maruti. Okay, take this Maruti, mind, Maruti senses. Okay, go. Now what do you want? I want BMW. Okay, take this BMW, mind, BMW. So this is what happening. Hmm. And Krishna will never stop us, but he will always say, you will never be happy. Even though you may go in any car and you may say it's your car, you may enjoy, but you will never be happy. That's why it's mentioned Karsati. He will have hard time. So when his mind in goodness, the mind uh, activities are good, but passion troublesome and ignorance lower. It is clear, however, that in this verse that conditioned soul is covered by the material body with the mind and senses, and when he is liberated, this material covering perishes, but his spiritual body manifests itself in the individual capacity. The following information is there in Maha Adhya Adhyani Nidayanan Shruti. सवा एष ब्रह्मनिष्ठा इदं शरीरं मर्त्यम् अतिसृज्य ब्रह्मा अभिसंपद्य ब्रह्मणा पश्यति ब्रह्मणा श्नोति ब्रह्मणैवेदं सर्वम् अनुभवति. It is stated here that when a living entity gives up the material embodiment and enters into the spiritual world, he revives his spiritual body. In spiritual body, he can see the Supreme Lord face to face, and he can hear, speak to him face to face, and he can understand the Supreme Lord as he is. From Smriti, also it is understood. Vasanti yatra purusha sarve vaikuntha murtayah. In the spiritual planet, everyone lives in the bodies featured like the Supreme Lord. Okay. So we have a body like a Supreme Lord that is mentioned, and also one gets a spiritual body. So सवा एष ब्रह्मनिष्ठा इदं शरीरं मर्त्यम् अतिसृज्य ब्रह्मा संपद्य ब्रह्मा संपद्य ब्रह्मणा पश्यन्ति ब्रह्मणा स्नोति. Just your understanding means one can speak to the Lord, one can see the Lord. How one can do all these things? Because he gets a spiritual body. So see, this is a proof here. We get a spiritual body. It's mentioned. So Madhyan Dinayan Shruti. So Brahmanishta, one who has got a Brahmanishta, Idam Sariram Martyam Atisricha. And after this Sarira is given up at the Mrityu, he gets a Brahma Abhisampadya. He gets a Brahma Sampati or next spiritual body. He gets a spiritual body, and there he can see the Lord, he can hear the Lord, and he can do anything there. That is mentioned in this shloka. And there, what kind of body? Vasanti yatra purusha sarve. Vaikuntha murtayah. Just see, Vaikuntha murtayah. So the same murti of the Lord, Vaikuntapati, one has the same kind of murti, same body. Vasanti yatra, there all people live there, Purusha sarve. पुरुष के साथ रहते हैं सब लोग वैकुंठ मूर्तया, उनके साथ रहते और वैकुंठ मूर्ति में विष्णु मूर्ति. So okay. The the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is not like a material broken part. We have already understood in the second chapter. The spirit cannot be broke, cannot be cut into pieces. This fragment is not materially conceived. It is not like matter which can be cut into pieces and joined together again. That conception is not applicable here because in Sanskrit word Sanatan is used. Fragmental portion is eternal. It is also stated in the beginning of second chapter. In each and every individual body, the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is present. Dehino asmin yatha deh. That fragmental portion, when liberated from the bodily entanglement, revives its original spiritual body in the spiritual sky. Hmm. Just see that Varapuran mentions all these things. Swamsa cha tatha vivinamsa iti dvedhyayam ishyate vivinamsa tu jiva syat. So two kind of expansion, swams and vivinamsa. Okay. ठीक है. We will end here for today. So we have done till fifth, sixth, how much? seventh shloka. So eighth onward we'll continue next time. Yes, any question? Such an important chapter this is. No question? We'll end here. जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय।